Good afternoon and welcome everybody once again to Adventures in Digital Marketing. In case you didn't already know this, because if you're watching this or you're seeing this on the replay or whatever, my name is Rob and I'm a web designer and developer who is absolutely obsessed with digital marketing. And I am here doing these lives because I want to connect with you guys. I want to connect. I mean, there's really not an easier way to say that, right? So I'm trying to help you guys to get to know who I am. I'm trying to to know more of you guys that I see in my feed. I've got, almost 2,500 friends on my friends list here, and I got people from all different walks and all different backgrounds. And some people are into online business, which is what I talk about most of the time here. Some people are not. Some people are old friends from high school. If we went to high school together or we're in a band together, hello, welcome once again. And if you're here with me live, please hit me up with a hashtag live and let me know where you're watching from. I would definitely love to see where you're at. Like I said, I got people on my Facebook friends list that are from all over the world. So tell me in the comments. Let me know, where are you from? Where are you watching from? I would love to hear that. So what I want to talk to you about today is something that I've talked about a couple times on my podcast in the past, but it's one of those things that just kind of bears repeating. And the reason it's on my mind today is because I was confronted with a situation where I needed to dig deep and go back through this kind of concept myself for some stuff that I'm working on. So as you all may know or may not know, depending on how familiar you are or are not with my content, I've got a new project that I've been working on over the last month or two that is designed to help you to be able to maximize your online presence, right? I'll get more into that later. Details are not really all that important right now, but if you're interested, you can go to websitesarenotdead.com, go pick up that guide and pick up on some stuff that I've been talking about over the last couple of years that I've learned that are causing businesses to fail online. So there's 7 keys in there, and I would love for you to have a copy of that guide. But like I said, if you're watching live, hit me up below with a hashtag live. If you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay. So here's the thing, right? I remember the first time that I ever sat down to play drums. So you may or may not know, in a previous life, a long time ago, I was a drummer. I was on my way to music school in California, and I was, my whole goal in life was, number 1, to be a rock star, number 2, to be a session musician. I gave up drums a long time ago, as you can see from the stuff that's hanging on the walls, because I got hearing damage from all of those years. But I remember, though, the first time that I ever sat down to play, I actually started in 7th grade. And the challenge was, my mom had a friend who was a drummer who had loaned me this snare drum. It was a Ludwig snare drum. And I had a pair of Ludwig nylon tip drumsticks, right? And I thought I was the baddest dude in the world. Here I was in 7th grade, because when I was in middle school, it was actually 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. But anyway, so, here I was with my snare drum and my sticks. And then it's like, well, what do I do now, right? I hadn't started the class yet in school, and I had it was like a Mel Bay's intro to drums or something like that. So I'm going through and I'm teaching myself how to do these basic things like a paradiddle or a flam or different rudiments, right? And in drumming, there are many. I don't remember how many there are, but there are some rudiments that you've got to master in order to be able to do some of the other fancy stuff, right? So here I am, and I'm trying to do my thing, and I'm like, I want to be this big bad drummer, because I was a big, huge Van Halen fan, a big Def Leppard fan. Rock and roll was totally my thing. If you love rock and roll, definitely hit me up below with I love rock and roll. That would be a very cool hashtag, by the way. But anyway, so I wanted to be this big badass rock star, right? So, but it was really, really frustrating. And I remember practicing and just, I was trying to do this thing over and over again. And I don't even remember which of the rudiments it was, but I remember I was so frustrated. I just took my stick and I slammed it into the head of the drum, and it busted the bead of my drumstick, and it went flying off. And I was so disappointed because those drumsticks were so cool, because they was like, like a blue like foil imprint with Ludwig on it. I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Anyway, why do I tell you this story? Because here's the principle behind it. It took me years to figure out how to do the things that I wanted to do as a drummer. It ended up being, I was in several bands. Like I said, I was on my way to music school in college, before I had a career path change. And, I had played with lots of people in this time in Orlando where I was. This music scene was huge, and I was so psyched about building this big music career. But, I had progressed from this kid who couldn't figure out how to do the basic drumming rudiments to being somebody that was sought out, somebody that wanted to that was trying to connect with other people and playing in bands and doing all kinds of stuff, right? And there's one key word that made all the difference for all of that time, and it's practice. And the reason I tell you this is when it comes to doing business online, right? When it comes to digital marketing, like we go through the One Funnel Away challenge, and then, we take somebody else's course, right? It doesn't have to be OFA. It could be any number. Like Pat Flynn has a bunch of stuff that if you're a beginner, you definitely need to know who Pat Flynn is. But when you're getting started, though, you've got to figure out some way to put in the time, right? You've got to get your hours in, your 10,000 hours, right, of practice in order to build yourself to a level of proficiency where you're competent, right? Because it took a while for me as a drummer. In seventh grade, I was completely incompetent, didn't know how to hold my drumsticks, had broken the tip off of one of my drumsticks in my first time learning how to play. And then, by the time I was in ninth grade, I was marching, I was playing snare, and then I did that throughout high school. And, one thing led to another, and we were doing some really cool stuff by the time I was done with high school. So it doesn't have to be like this big, huge, extended period of time, right? But the challenge is, though, that we have to put in the hours and the practice to get good at doing something. Let me use another example. It's another music example, of course, but you wouldn't walk into a music store and go sit down at a piano having never played piano, but you've heard a lot of piano, right? You know what you like. You like Billy Joel. You know that you like Rachmaninoff. You know that you like Bach and Mozart, right? Or whatever your jam is as far as the piano is concerned. You know that you enjoy it, right? But you don't go in there and sit down and think, oh, I'm going to be able to crank out, this Billy Joel tune, right? Or, that would just be something that would be like totally, like just incomprehensible, right? It just doesn't make any sense that you would be able to do that, right? Because it takes the time and the work and the effort to figure out how to do stuff. So why am I telling you all this? Well, for me, one of the things that I have to do is I've got to go back to the things that I need to be good at and continue to work through the practice process to make sure I'm staying up on my skills, like whether it's programming, which you can see back here, or if it's marketing stuff, or it's writing, or if it's even playing the guitars that are over here. The time and the effort has to be spent to get the progress that you want, right? So you've got to put in the time to get to something that is going to be something worth having, right? So here's the thing too, and I tell this to my daughter all the time. I told her I was getting ready to go do a Facebook Live. She was like, well, talk about me. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll talk about you. This is the thing, though, that I tell her is that if it was easy, if being successful, right? If winning tons of traffic, if selling, thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars worth of stuff online, if any of that stuff was easy, don't you think that everybody would be doing it? Kind of would make sense, right? If it's easy, why isn't everybody doing it? But it's not easy, right? That's the thing that we miss out on a lot of times. It takes a lot of time and practice and effort in order to get good at this stuff. So what I want to challenge you with, the same thing that I'm challenging myself today, because this live, this podcast, this episode is really, I call it Adventures in Digital Marketing because that's what it is, right? It's a documentation of what I'm working on and what I'm doing and the things that are working for me and the things that aren't, right? And the one thread that runs on all of that stuff is simply being able to get in the practice every day. Got to practice, you got to work hard. That's why they tell you in the One Funnel Away Challenge that you have to publish something every single day. It's absolutely vital to be able to, start to make the progress that you want to make, because you're going to get uncomfortable, right? You're going to get to a point, you're going to go, you know what, this doesn't really work for me. The way I'm doing my Facebook Live, or the way that I'm writing this post, or the way that I'm recording this podcast, or the way that, I'm building this funnel, or whatever the case may be, you're going to get that feeling. You're, yeah, no, that's not quite it. Let me make some adjustments, right? Same thing that I'm doing, right? I come in here on Facebook Live. I'm learning as I go, learning from the experiments, right? That I'm doing to try to get better at what I do so that I can do a better job of connecting with you guys. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I appreciate you, those of you who have joined me live. Thank you so very much. You do not know how much I appreciate it, because I really do. So, and for those of you guys that are watching this on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Come and hop on with me live sometime. It's great. I would love to see questions and comments and stuff like that below. If you've got questions about web design and web development, or you've got questions about me and my background and what I do, any of that stuff, I would love to hear it. So definitely let me know below in the comments. That's what I've got. You guys take care. Till next time. Bye.